Years old, I was very excited to get my license. I mean, really excited. Then again, who isn't? So I waited for that day, waited. Finally, I got there and hopped in the car with my mom. We drove down to the DMV because that's where I was supposed to be taking my test. I'd already finished all of the different classes that I needed to take. And that day, if I passed, I'd get my license. So I went in, and of course, long lines, but finally the moment arrived, got up to the desk, filled out the paperwork, and went out to the back. I walked out. They had a car waiting for me. I looked at the man who was in the car. He was a little bit frustrated, I could tell. A little bit on edge. Okay, well, kind of focused on myself at the time. So I went in and started the test. He guided me down the different parts of the course, and I showed him how to stop. I showed him how to back up, how to parallel park, how to blink, how to do every little part. Meanwhile, I could tell that he was just ready to be done with all of it. I really didn't make much of it because, like I said, I was a little bit focused on myself. But I went ahead and continued on. The very end of the course, I could see the end, and I thought, you know what? I haven't seen him make hardly any bad marks, So I was so excited. I was ready. He said, okay, last thing I need you to do, pull to the side of the road and park. So I went. It was a one-lane road. So I pulled to the side of the side of the road, and I parked. He said, you failed. I said, excuse me? You drove off the side of the road, and I can't do anything about that. You failed. Excuse me, sir, you told me that I was supposed to pull to the side of the road. I don't see what was wrong. Excuse me, you pulled to the side of the road, but off the road. Not to the side of the road, but off the road. You failed. Kept my composure, but slowly drove up to the end, let him off. That's when I started crying. I thought, this isn't fair. I did exactly what he told me to do. But, nevertheless, it was the person who was going to be giving me the grade or not, the one who was going to let me pass or not. So I picked up my mom, barely being able to see anything because I was so emotional. I actually asked her to go ahead and drive home. Yeah, I was a little bit bitter about the whole thing. So 1 month passed, and I was able to go and retake the test. We walked in. I was apprehensive, but I thought, you know what? If I just do all of the things exactly as they ask, I can go ahead and ask them second questions. Maybe I'll just do that. Maybe I'll just go ahead and ask them about every little thing before I do it, just so that I'm extra certain. I mean, really, I couldn't even imagine that something like that would happen again. So we make our way through the line, and I speak with the person behind the desk. I ask her, or she told me, okay, you've got all your paperwork filled out. Is there anything that you'd like me to do? Any requests or any questions that you have before we start? I half mumbled under my breath. Excuse me? Can you give me somebody who's nice this time? She looked at me in surprise. Frankly, all of our teachers are pretty nice. I don't know what you're having difficulty with, or who you had a hard time with. She looked through my paperwork, and I could see as she scanned down the line, oh. Okay, well, when was it? Oh. Well, let me give you a little bit of background. The instructor that you had that day, frankly, the week before, he had just lost his son. And so he wasn't exactly right I said, okay. I felt awful, absolutely awful. I mean, to be very honest, I've been kind of griping about this man the entire month. I've been complaining and saying how awful he was and how he shouldn't have even been a teacher. I had no idea. I had no way of knowing. But it's taught me a very important lesson. You never know. You never know. And from then on, it was very important to me to be able to see a person and recognize that you don't know what they've been through. You don't know the circumstances that have happened in their life. Brings to mind a hymn from church. This is called Lord, I Will Follow Thee. In the quiet heart is hidden sorrow that the eye can't see. Who am I to judge another? Lord, I would